daycare teacher tells me he's a fabulous eater. And then I get him home and he never wants to sit for dinner. And he's so picky. I just feel like sometimes I can't even believe what she's saying is true. This comes up in my practice all the time. My name is Nutritious. I'm a certified pediatric sleep consultant who helps family reap the benefits of quiet nights and calmer days. And in this video, we're going to talk about how a simple tweak in schedule can make all the difference in your child's appetite and ability to sit down to eat dinner eagerly every night. Let's play a game. I'm going to give you a word and I'll prompt you with a question and you're going to tell me what comes up immediately. So I don't want you to think about this. I just want the first thing that comes to mind. Breakfast. What do you usually have for breakfast? I'm sure you probably said something like fruit smoothie, oatmeal, scrambled eggs. It doesn't matter. You have your thing. Next one. Lunchtime. What setting comes up when you think about lunch? So for me, that's like sitting in my office with my stainless steel bowl and my humongous salad inside, because that's how I have lunch every single day. So when I think lunch, that's the image that comes in my mind. I wonder what that is for you. Okay, last one. Dinner. What time is dinner? Now, you may be thinking something very standard, like, well, dinner's at 6:30 because that's what it always was in my family. Or I had a family that said to me, we live in Italy, dinner's at 8:30. And I thought, oh God, no, dinner at 8:30, that's so late. But whatever, we have our cultural kind of family habits that come in and maybe sabotage our ability to think outside the box. But really, what we want to think about is dinner time realistic for our child with the way that their meals are set up? So in daycare, there's breakfast around 8:30, lunch around 11:30, 12, and then no other nutritious meal until dinner. And so if you think about that, your child is going from 11:30, 12 o'clock until pickup. Maybe he got a piece of apple or a small tiny snack in there, but that's not enough. And we are stuck thinking dinner needs to be at a certain hour. And so we string our children along until dinner time, but really it's completely inappropriate for their body and their needs. So first point I want us to put our focus on is that gap, that huge gap that comes up between lunch and dinner. We just stick to our regular dinner times without even thinking about what it is our child needs because it's not dinner time. But when we recognize this gap from, let's say, noon until dinner time, then it's obvious that our child needs a nutritious meal in between. So recognizing that long gap and putting focus on how many hours in between mealtime is the first point that we want to put our focus on. Our child's coming home hungry and they're also coming home finished, just like we come home finished from the day at work. Even if it was a wonderful experience, even if everything went as planned, we come home tired. It was draining. And so our kids come home tired and hungry, even though hunger generally is not something we think about until dinner time. The problem actually starts hours before dinner. And so when we recognize that, we can start making the changes necessary so that we can prevent this kind of problem from the beginning. The second point we want to put our focus on is the snack trap. The snack trap is actually something that we all fall into because sometimes we get hungry before dinner time. And then what are we going to do? We're not going to have dinner early. So we snack and we snack on stuff. And our kids really fall prey to this. We take them to the park because we're going to have a fun activity after daycare. And all the parents bring all these snacks. And so our child is hungry. And so all of a sudden we find them running from parent to parent to parent, snacking on everybody else's snacks. And it totally sabotages dinner. Now we don't think anything of it because it's not dinner time. And then we bring our kids home and we sit them at the table and they're like, nope, I don't want to have that. But that's because they're already full. So we just want to pay attention to what we're offering them when they're hungry. And when they're hungry, it doesn't have to be your typical dinner time. It can be mealtime. We could just invent a new word over that and say mealtime is when our child's going to eat. And mealtime happens every 3 to 4 hours. And mealtime means that I've planned intentionally to fuel my child's body with nutritious food. So a trick that I had when I had days at the park or after school activities with my older kids and I had to bring my younger one with was that I planned ahead the day before. So whatever we had for dinner the day before, I would put in a box. It would be all ready for him for the next day. And I would offer my child dinner wherever I was. I might be at a pool waiting for my daughter to finish her activity. I may be at the park with a bunch of other kids, but my child would have a nutritious meal available at the times that they were hungry. And so if I know that my child had lunch at 12 and it's 4 o'clock now and we're heading out somewhere, maybe I'll just take a moment to sit with my child on a park bench or in the back seat of the car and give them dinner so that their bodies will be satiated and they'll just be content. Because when they eat healthy foods at the right time, it just creates well-being. It's actually very simple. Point number 3 is called the energy crash. Now, we recognize this feeling in ourselves because I say it even on a regular basis at the end of the day. I say to my family, I'm finished. I have no energy left. And they're like, really, Mom, you're finished? And I'm like, yeah, that's it, 0. I'm at 0%. And your children are also most likely at 0% after a long day. And recognizing that 6 p.m. is probably already that crash and expecting them to then have the stamina to bathe and to have dinner and to do all these activities is actually very demanding for these little bodies. And so planning around when your child has a full tank and a full battery, rather than leaving all of the challenging things at the end of the day, will turn around that dynamic. And you'll no longer have a child screaming in the shower, and you'll no longer have a child who doesn't want to eat dinner, because you set them up for success by offering those things at a time where they still had energy. So putting focus on the long gap between lunch and dinner, putting focus on not snacking your children, rather offering them a healthy meal at the right time, and not setting them up for disaster by moving the activities earlier in the day that are challenging for them, will make all the difference in the way that those later hours in the day play out. So now we recognize it's not that he's picky, it's not that he doesn't like my food, or that he doesn't want to have dinner, or that he's just this mysterious child who's like amazing in daycare, but like such not the same child at home. We now recognize how we can be in the lead, because remember, parent in the lead, child follows. When we're in the lead, when we lead with intention, we can set our children up for success. And that is the biggest benefit that we can give ourselves and our children for a wonderful family dynamic. I'm going to leave you with that for this video. Thank you for being with me. If you want to share how things are going for you, I'd love to hear about it. You can drop a comment below. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to my channel to help support me, support other families, and I will see you next time.